Legomnews here, and welcome back to another showcase video where I'm finally showcasing my Lego custom Soy Madrena's Blue Beetle from Blue Beetle, of course. So I know the movie came out a few months ago. I watched it with some really good friends of mine, and we had a great time, and it was super fun, you know. And it's probably my favorite DC movie of the year. I'm not even gonna dare to watch Aquaman 2. I just don't care. Okay, I'm pretty much done with DC until either the Batman 2 or Superman Legacy. But yeah, this was a figure that I was incredibly excited to make because the live-action Blue Beetle suit was just so amazing, and it was pretty much like visually the best thing in the entire movie, and just the way. The way it was, the way it was created, the way the suit was in the movie was absolutely perfection. I mentioned that in my review on the movie on my community tab post. Maybe if you scroll down, you'll find my review on it. But yeah, and also Soy Madrena did an amazing job as Hyman Reyes, and yeah. So this was a figure that I wanted to get done right, and it was a figure I really wanted to get done by the release of the movie, but that unfortunately didn't happen because the complexity of the suit was just like, yeah, ain't no way I'm gonna get that done on time. So yeah, and I really wanted to take my time on this figure. So yeah, guys, I started on this figure on I think the week before Blue Beetle came out because I was able to get enough reference, you know, and that's also the thing. I need to get enough reference for me to make the figure itself. So yeah, and also this figure is heavily inspired by JQL Figs over on Instagram and YouTube. His figure was pretty much the base blueprint on how I wanted to make mine. So yeah, guys, I think with all that said, let's get started.
That love you feel for your family makes you weak. You're wrong. My family, that's what makes me strong.
So finally talking about Blue Beetle himself. Now this was a figure that I've been incredibly excited for me to make. Ever since the leaked set photos came out, I think back last year, I have just been so excited to make this figure, and it turned out exactly how I wanted it to. All the sculpting, all the paint work, all of it was just done so well, and ended up perfectly, and ended up exactly how I wanted it to. So yeah, so starting off with the head, of course. We're gonna be going from top to bottom as always. Starting off with the head itself. The head was just pretty much a standard Lego minifigure head that I pretty much just sanded the stud off, at least sanded the stud to a considerable amount, so I can just sculpt over it. And then I did sculpt these little earpieces on the side, and everything that you see on this head was fully 100% hand painted. Also, this figure is 100% hand painted, by the way. So you can see all of that painted detail around the head. I would say the most challenging part of making the head was definitely painting the detail all around, because I really thought that Blue Beetle just had a little amount of detail on the head, telling by what JKL did, and telling by just simple basic reference. But after I paid more attention to the reference itself, Blue Beetle had a lot more detail on the head. And it was just like, okay, I'm gonna go all out with this figure, and I actually try to get as accurate as I possibly can, and you can see that right there. And I actually worked on this figure in a hotel. I was out of town, so I decided just to take the figure with me, and for me to work on. So yeah. And then talking about the black face mask itself, I'm talking about the black face mask. You can just see all the paint detail there. You can see the golden eyes, the metallic blue sections, and now for the detail on the black area on the mask, I wasn't sure I wanted to paint it in dark gray or in gunmetal, but I actually decided to go with gunmetal because it would just look way cooler and actually show more, and you can see that there. This side clearly looks better, while this side kind of looks yeah, that I kind of actually had to refix that area, and I felt, and I guess. And I tried to fix it even more, but I knew that the paint will be layering up, so didn't want to do that. So yeah, and if I just remove the head, it's just kind of connected to sticky tape because it's loose. You can see the paint detail under there, and yeah, so now moving on to the body and the rest of the figure itself. The torso armor was sculpted on, and by the way, this figure was heavily inspired by JKO Figs, like I haven't mentioned that before. So you can see the sculpted torso armor there, and you can see that for the first time I actually sculpted over the minifigure torso for these areas right here. And that's actually something that JKL did, and actually did try to basically sculpt into a point where like the minifigure's head will still be able to move, and that turned out so damn good. So you can see that there, and then that does connect to the scarab on the back, which we will get to. So yeah, you can just see that there, and you can see these little sections on the sides here, which I think it's like pretty much like where like the scarab is, where it's kind of like meets like the claws of the scarab. So you can see that there, and you can see all that paint detail there. And also one thing I forgot to mention is that these light blue highlights around the entire figure itself, that's my own custom mix color. It's kind of like a similar mix color that I used on my Supergirl custom, which I have yet to showcase, but I'll see if I can do that by the end of the year. So you can see that there. Now, for the main logo itself, I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint it just black, but like in the movie, Blue Beetle has like a bunch of like blue lights going all around his suit, similar to Iron Man. So like I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint the logo in black. Some people were telling me not to paint in the light blue, but like, you know what, man, the light blue just makes the figure look a lot more accurate and makes it look cooler. So I did that. You can see a bunch of like the light blue highlights around here, which is actually the same light blue color that I used on Nebula, on Nebula's head for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So you can see that there. The gray areas here is actually my own custom mix color. It's similar to the gray color I used on Keaton Batman or on other figures, I believe. But I tried to get to a point where I tried to make like the gray kind of like darker, because like the gray areas on Blue Beetle's suit are like kind of like have like a weird design, have like a weird kind of like texture to them, or it's like this weird pattern to them, which I know I wouldn't be able to replicate. But I did try to get the gray as dark as I can. Try to get like maybe get something as close as I can. So I did that, and I did paint the detail there. And one thing that was actually kind of a pain while using this color was that when I painted the black on, like it kind of showed that when I painted the black on and when I went over it with the gray color just to, you know, correct some areas, it kind of looked like that, like the black, and I didn't like fix it or correct it, if that makes sense. And so I was like trying to look at it, I was like, wait, what? And if you can look at it from the side, you can clearly see that the paint detail, you can see the paint detail clearer there, if that makes sense. So you can see that there. And the Blue Beetle really doesn't have like any black areas to him. He just kind of like have like this dark blue undersuit or something. I don't know what it is, but he does have like some dark blue areas, which I just pretty much use a cobalt blue. So yeah. Now talking about the scarab on the back, this was kind of a pain in the ass for me to sculpt. And I actually did sculpt in layers, you know. So I started off with the base layer, and then I kind of like made little sections that kind of went over them to create these little slits on the back, and I had to morph them into the pack itself. And I had to engrave, then sculpt more, engrave more, and it was kind of like a very tedious process. And you can see that these two sections do connect to the pack. Now, one thing that I kind of wanted to do with this figure, but I unfortunately couldn't, was make the little pincer or claw things that he has coming out from the back. And I knew that if I did that, it will make the figure 100 times cooler. But I really couldn't find a way for like me to have those pincers and for them still be stable on there. So yeah, and I was actually maybe thinking about using some wire, but like I just don't think it will end up well. And also because I didn't want them to break off, so I just decided to sculpt the scarab and not make the claws themselves, unfortunately. So yeah, and you can see all that painted detail on the scarab right there. You can see it on both sides, and you can see that on that side. Painting the scarab was kind of like a bit of a very tedious process for me to do, because like it was kind of hard just to map out, like kind of like to mask all like the inaccuracies or mistakes I did, like while painting the detail in there. It was very challenging. And also because of the lighting I had to use, and you can see these little sections coming from like the sides, which will actually lead to these little areas right here. So yeah, and you can see the rest of the paint detail on the back as well. So now talking about the arms, the shoulder pads are fully sculpted, and the shoulder pads are fully sculpted, and the rest of the arms are fully painted. So the shoulder armor was just like, I would say like one of the harder parts of doing this, because sculpting shoulder armor is never easy, because you have to get both sides to look identical within one another. And I did that to the best of my ability, but yeah, that wasn't really fun. And so you can see all that paint detail there, and you can see these light blue highlights. Now these light blue areas on the shoulder armor itself. Blue Beetle does have some light blue areas on the shoulder armor, which I just used that custom color to replicate that onto there, and you can see some of the blue lights there. You can see the gray areas there, and you can see the amount of lines I had to paint. Which, let me tell you, that wasn't easy. It wasn't easy for me to paint those lines, and yeah, so that wasn't easy at all. The hands have no paint detail, but yeah. But yeah, painting the arms were very tedious. And of course, the best part of making of painting Lego custom minifigures are the legs. Just, oh my god, I absolutely hate making legs. So yeah, so pretty much the only 3D parts, or at least any definition that the legs have, are these 3D knee pads right here. Just cut those out of cardstock and just glue them on there, and paint all the detail that you see on there. And I recently just finished up the legs. Today, so yeah. You can see all that paint detail there. You can see the more blue highlights going. You can see some more light blue lights going on there. You can see that there, and you can see the boots, which were kind of annoying for me to paint. I mean, when I first previewed the figure, I really just did whatever with the boot detail. But I recently just redid the boot detail, and you can see that there has more light blue lights there, and you can see some the blue highlights. Or you can see this design on the toes right there does continue on to the top of the fig, on top of the feet. If you can see that, you can kind of see that right there. And yeah, and painting the legs wasn't fun at all. Mainly painting these areas with a dark gray color wasn't easy, but I managed to pull through it. So yeah, and also, before we close out this segment, the legs do have fully painted detail on all 4 sides of the minifigure's legs, and I would say the boots turned out really clean. I feel like that is the cleanest part of the figure, in my opinion. So yeah. So yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for Blue Beetle, and now it's time to wrap up this video. So guys, that's going to be for the Blue Beetle showcase. Hope you all enjoyed. This was a figure I've been incredibly excited for to showcase, and it's probably one of my best figures I've made this year. But I will try to do a top 10 video of the best figures I've made this year, hopefully by the end of the year. So we shall see. And now after this, probably gonna do some homework or something, because I've been on holiday, and then gonna get back to work on both the Marvels and Loki season 2, and then probably make Flash or something, even though the Flash flopped and it wasn't that great. Yeah, and I haven't really, and pretty much the only figure I've sort of did the most progress on Loki season 2 is Loki himself. But I'll make sure to get both the Loki season 2 and the Marvel showcases out before the year ends. So yeah, guys, it has been really slow on the channel recently. That's just due to personal things in my life going on. My things recently just arrived, so which means I haven't really been able to work on any figures. Because by the time my things arrived, I had to work on the dining table, which was kind of a bit of a pain in the ass to do. But I have a brand new setup, and I will make sure that once I have everything organized and clean, I will make sure to probably do a room tour or something, because my new room is actually pretty cool. And hopefully I will make sure to bring back streams when I do have the chance. When I do, I'll make sure I'll try and bring back live streams. Hopefully at some point before the year ends, maybe in next month or something. But I'm not really gonna promise anything. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna get back to work on I'm probably gonna get back to work on the Marvels or do my homework. But yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed, and this is Legomnews signing out. Have a great day, everyone, and adios.